Hey there, it's Chris from Good Roads, and I have got a new and improved version of one of my tools, one of my favorite tools that I've designed to share with you all. I'm really stoked about it. I'm really proud of it. I am a product guy, I'm not a marketing guy, so let me just tell you what's up. Let's get into it. There's a step in making a skateboard that's always a bit of a hassle. After you've pressed your blank and cut it to shape, you need to take the square rails and round them over. But our boards have all of these compound curves to them, and it can make it kind of difficult to cut a consistent radius. Enter the Bishop, version number 2. This is a completely redesigned version of a router jig I released a few years ago. I have rebuilt it from the bottom up, based on my own experience using the tool, and also from piles of feedback from you all in the community. Special shout out in particular to Johnny Manic from Manic Skates for his review video and feedback. That really helped me develop this into a much better tool. And after many prototypes and revisions, I think I finally got it nailed down. So let's take a tour, starting at the top. The original version of the Bishop had a domed top, and it worked really well in most cases. But there were certain curves, like the pocket of a street deck, where it was difficult to get the router bit where it needed to go. So the dome of this new version is more conical, and it is topped with a nub. And yes, I know what it looks like, you know what it looks like, and we're calling it a nub. Just like the original version, this new geometry still allows you to guide the deck through the router bit without gouging the wood, but now the jig is out of the way of even the tightest twists and turns in your board. This change alone makes a huge difference in how effective and usable the tool is. I could have just updated the nub, re-released it, and called it a day, and it would have been a new and improved version. It makes that much of a difference. But I am a perfectionist with little to no impulse control, and I was improving the tool anyway, and let's just say I kind of couldn't stop. So let's talk about all of the other stuff that I made better too. Making our way down the guide, the next biggest change is that I separated the dome of the jig and the clamp that holds the router into two separate components. In the old design, the tool had this mouth-looking slit in it. That was the design choice that allowed me to manufacture the part within the constraints of 3D printing, but it did mean that the clamp had a thin section, and it also limited the clamp's range of movement. The new clamp is a solid piece that wraps fully around the router, and the top of the guide is a complete dome that comes with all the inherent strength of that shape. Redistributing and dividing the meat of the guide this way allows both functions of the tool to be more robust and work more effectively. And this update comes with the added benefit that the new clamp design can now fit a much wider range of routers. That was another big piece of feedback I got from you guys. The Bishop is designed around this router right here. This is the Bosch Colt 1 horsepower. I don't know if they have other horsepowers, but the Bosch Colt. And it's got an outer diameter of about 70 millimeters. But I found out that a bunch of you out there are using smaller pin routers, which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that. But the clamp on the old Bishop had that limited range of movement, so it couldn't hold a very wide variety of widths of router. This new clamp has a significantly larger range of movement, so it should be able to clamp many more routers without any extra considerations. And by the way, if you get one of these jigs or if you print one for yourself and you are still running into fit problems, you can just shim the router with an extra piece of skateboard veneer cut off. That was a solution that came straight from you guys, and it's one of the reasons this community is so rad. And with this new release, there's one last major quality of life update: toolless adjustment. The new clamp is designed around a square-headed bolt and a wing nut, which means you can adjust the clamp without having to get out a set of wrenches. If you're printing your own, the files are going to include a version that will work with a wider variety of hardware, since these parts are a little more difficult to source. But if you do some digging, or if you buy the Bishop from me, you'll be able to make those super important micro adjustments one-handed without having to go to the toolbox. Personally, I wasn't expecting this to be much of a big deal at all, but after having it and using it for a little while, I would never go back. It's just one of those little pleasantries that comes from working with a good tool, and for me, as someone who cares about ergonomics and having pleasant tools to work with, I think it's a sign that I really did a good job with the design of this one. So there you have it, the new Bishop. It works better, it's better designed, it's stronger, it has quality of life improvements across the board. It's printable without supports. I don't know. I put a ton of work into this. I've been working on it for months, and I'm really proud of how it came out. This really is a significant improvement over the original version. It's rad. I like making nice tools. This is a nice tool. It's rad. Throughout this video, you've seen shots of me using a gray version. That was the last prototype that I was putting through its paces. The only difference between that version and this final version right here is that I slapped some branding on it. Think of it as a seal of approval. There's literally no other changes. The geometry is exactly the same. And it's black, you know, like chess. Bishop is where the name comes from. So I hope you all like it. I'm really proud of it. I love seeing people use my tools to make their boards, whether it's a hobbyist working out of a basement or a small shop cranking out hundreds of decks. If you want to get a hold of one, just check out the link in the description or mosey on over to goodroadscollective.com. And that's enough chit chat. That's enough of me talking. I love having you all along for the ride. Let's make some awesome boards. Until next time, I'll see you soon. goodroadscollective.com. Got that early morning baritone. Yeah.